What's up, baseball glove buddies? Dave Wagner, Wagner Baseball Glove Repair. Today, a video showcasing the differences between the dual welting, which is in a Wilson glove, and I happen to have an A2K, but it could be an A2000, A1K. The dual welting in a Wilson versus the dual welting in a Rawlings, and it could be any other brand, Pro 44, East, whatever, okay? The point is, these both have two welts running along the finger backs. Okay, you can see them, right? Welts are these these joints, and you can see 1 and 2, 1 and 2. Now on the Rawlings, they kind of dovetail into this cool wingtippy kind of thing. If you notice, these welts don't actually come to the seam; they pivot out. So it's kind of like a wingtip, kind of like a dat dude. A little bit on a Wilson, but I'm trying to draw your attention to the fact that these both look similar on the outside. They are not even close to similar on the inside. I'm seeing more and more custom glove companies, or just big companies with custom glove shops, advertise dual welting, and customers are totally unaware that when you are buying a Wilson, you are buying a patented finger liner design that no one else makes. Okay, so what I have here, these two gloves have no palm adhesive, and they're turned inside out. Actually, I got to turn this one back inside out again because I turned it right side out. Okay, give me a sec. What I want to show you is the finger liners, and I'm going to show you the construction so you can see it. You'll never miss it. Any glove in the world that you try and look at, you're going to find this distinction. Wilson dual welting versus everything else. I don't care what the company is. So here we have a Rawlings Heart of the Hide Pro 314-7, and we have their finger liners. I'm going to use this tiny replica bat to show this more clearly. So what we have here, some Rawlings have finger liners that come all the way down and all the way around. Some have half liners. Okay, this happens to be a shorter one. As you can see here, you see this is a two-part finger tunnel. This is what it looks like if it's made easier to see. Do you notice there is a bottom piece of leather, the one your fingers rest on, and there is a large arc or curve over the top, which is sewn along the edges to make a finger tunnel. It will look kind of like a letter D turned upside down or sideways. I don't know. My alphabet's not good. That is a Rawlings. That is every stinking Rawlings you have ever put your hand into. Okay? Taper fit, not taper fit. Easton, Vinci, whatever. This is what they're made like. All of them. Okay? Now, whoop. I'm not saying this is a bad thing. I'm just telling you what you're getting in a Wilson that you're not getting with other things. In this particular glove, some A2000s and A2Ks have finger liners that are sewn down, and some are open at the top. This happens to be sewn down, okay? So I can't display it quite as clearly, but hopefully you'll see what I'm trying to do. If you're looking carefully, you will notice, here's my little drawing, you will notice that there are 4 seams in a finger liner from Wilson. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. In fact, the 5th here, but it doesn't count. 4. This is what is being constructed. Wilson dual welted gloves all have this 4-piece finger liner construction as my whole house falls down. So you have basically, instead of a large arc, you have a trapezoid. Now, somebody's going to say, well, who in the world cares? I've been playing Rawlings for 47,000 years and I love them. It's fine. I've been playing Wilson for 37,000 years and I love them. Fine. When this design came out, it was patented sometime in the late 80s, early 90s. So that's when you start seeing it come out first. What this was a brilliant solution for was this problem. Let us say you are a guy like me. I'm 6 foot 1 inches tall, and I have the hands of your average 7th grade girl's piano player. Okay, small, thin fingers. Okay, now when I put my hand, new piece of paper coming up. When I put my hand into a finger liner that is a 2-piece design, okay, it is often, okay, 2-piece design, it is often a little more loose on my finger, which is fitting in the middle. So Wilson decided, hey, what if we go to a 4-piece design, and in so doing we increase the amount of finger liner that is contacting the finger on all of its sides all of the time. Brilliant idea. So there's a Rawlings or an anything but Wilson style. Now I'm going to draw a Wilson style inside of this, and maybe you'll start to see the picture. And I'll do as best as I can. I'm not Michelangelo here, okay? But I laced his glove once. Just kidding. He was not very good at baseball. See that crappy drawing? But you get the idea. You see this room right here? On top, on the side, over here? That is what you could call areas of play. All right? Here's what I mean. Some of you may play other sports where very snug connections are required. For example, skiers. I'm an ice hockey player. Ice hockey players is good. Even in baseball, cleats, it's important to have something that fits correctly, which means it should be snug around a foot, usually. Snug around a foot, allowing for full range of motion. However, should not be too tight on a certain area causing blisters, nor should it be too loose, which also causes blisters because your whole foot shifts around, right? I think this was Aso-san designed this. I don't know if it was him, but somebody figured out that a lot of people like their gloves to play closer to their fingers, so you feel like more of what's happening on your hand gets through the glove. If you wear a shoe that is too large for you and you try and make a cut, what will happen is instead of the shoe doing what your foot does, your foot will shift in the shoe, but the shoe stays in the same place. What you want is, if you go this way, your shoe goes with you. Same idea. When your finger goes this way, you want your glove to be pushing this way too. This design, the Dual Welting design, and I'll draw it in real quick. This one difference, okay, is a major reason why those people with smaller fingers tend to prefer Wilsons. It has nothing to do with if their grandpa worked for Wilson. Nothing to do. So if you find that Wilsons are too snug, the reason is probably because you have a finger that's a little above average in its size around. So if you've got monster, like bratwurst fingers, Wilsons are probably going to be uncomfortable. Don't worry about it. If you had a Wilson that was built in 1982, made in Japan, it had the same type of design. But if you get one that has dual welting built after that time, it will feel different. It is not as though Wilson is cheating you. In fact, it's quite a bit more labor intensive to create the four panel finger liner. So when people tell me right away how I can know a Wilson is made a little bit more with a little bit more effort inside, this is the easiest things to show someone. You can also, and this is not a good one to do it on. If these are separated or up, you could also look at the difference in size between the amount of leather actually used. Most of the times there's quite a disparity between a Rawlings and a Wilson. You can see it. This one's very, very similar. So Rawlings likes to put a layer of fabric and glue it to the back of the leather, giving it a little more durability, and then overlay some foam. Wilson uses slightly thicker leather, and then occasionally, not always, they'll put a layer of foam right on it, but there's no fabric. So I tend to see, in my experience, and obviously I do a few gloves, I see more Rawlings gloves with burned out finger liners than Wilsons, for the simple reason that, as far as I can tell, by lots of observation, the liners aren't made with as thick a piece of leather, and the fabric behind them, though it's meant to support it, isn't as durable. So you burn through the leather, and all that behind it is a little kind of like a gauze material, so a lot of guys go right through it. I think Wilson's inside are built better than Rawlings, and this is one of a few reasons why. But there is no question that if you like a snug fit and your hand is average or below average, you will probably like the Wilson Dual Welting. If you like your glove to be on your hand and have no idea what's going on in it, or if you really like a lot of play, a lot of slosh, you're going to want to stay away from Wilsons. You're not going to find it. It doesn't matter what Wilson you get. They all have dual welting, okay? So maybe as you're, obviously it's around Christmas and probably everybody bought their gifts, so this is worthless, but as you purchase gloves and think about this, your size of your fingers and basically your hand size is kind of important, but it's usually overlooked when companies are selling you a glove. So Rawlings will sell you tapered fits. All that means is that they shrink the size of everything. Wilson offers tapered fits. They shrink the size of their trapezoid, okay? So it's not Wilson versus Rawlings, it's dual welting versus non-dual welting. So Jeff Bradley, he designs gloves, and they are available with what looks like dual welting on the back, just like this Rawlings. Inside, it's the arc, okay? Just a smaller arc for small hands. This, don't be fooled. If you buy this and you're buying it because you think the insides are the same, they're not. Wilson's distinct from any other brand when it comes to what these welts mean as far as the overall design. Never shot a video on that, and I haven't heard many people talk about it, but it might explain why you are really frustrated with a brand new glove that you bought. You're moving from a Wilson to something else, and you're like, man, this is so dang loose. Or you're doing the other way. Man, I like this thing from Rawlings, a Pro 200, and I went over to this Wilson PPO5, and it sucks. It's too tight. That's what's happening. Almost 100% guaranteed. So hopefully that's helpful. I know it's a little longer, but it's a cool thing to know. So anyway, it's almost Christmas, so have a wonderful Christmas. May God bless you guys, of course, and may you have lovely days.